A Certain Magical Index is an anime that has never really reached mass popularity in the West. It became overshadowed by its own spin-off, basically solely to not, but the opposite. And even its most hardcore fans feel alienated and disappointed due to the messy adaptation of the light novels portrayed in Index Season 3. And with the light novel sales declining as the industry has become infected with endless isekai series, it can perhaps be said that Index represents a light novel of a bygone era. This is a series that started in 2004 and did use, and to its credit, also create many tropes that were relevant at the time, such as the protagonist who is low ranked but actually has a stupid crazy power, or psychotic anime boys with white hair. So not only does it go against the current trends, since it is not a gimmick isekai that was pulled out the author's ass and sold for easy money, but it also has a lot of volumes. Too many maybe for the average attention span of modern day anime fans who find a wet cardboard story with pretty colours entertaining. While the amount of volumes can appeal to some fans who like the idea of a huge adventure with no end in sight, similar to One Piece, others simply won't care to invest that much time in a series that had a mediocre anime at best. Index would need to have the Brotherhood treatment to have any opportunity at succeeding at two things. One, attracting new anime fans to the franchise without them having to watch multiple seasons to catch up, and two, sustaining the interest of the dedicated fans who might be moving on from the series. While I don't think Index would ever reach the heights of something like Naruto or Demon Slayer in terms of popularity due to how complicated aspects of the plot can be at times, I believe it could potentially give some other franchises a run for their money with the right adaptation in the form of a remake. But what do I mean by the term Brotherhood treatment? If you are somehow not familiar with the anime Full Metal Alchemist, then this probably has you confused. Basically, Full Metal Alchemist was a manga series that was not finished when it was first adapted into an anime in 2003. Rather than just adapt the existing content from the manga and leave it there until more chapters arrive, Full Metal Alchemist joined the trend of other big shonen at the time to create filler content after they caught up adapting the events of the manga, but also go the full distance and finish it off with an anime original ending. Basically the anime equivalent of what happened to Game of Thrones. Anyway, time passed and the manga was eventually completed, so a remake of Full Metal Alchemist passed the green light at the production company, and thus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was born in 2009, adapting the entirety of the manga. But the Brotherhood treatment can't exactly be applied to Index in the same way as Full Metal Alchemist, simply because the general plot of Index was faithfully adapted with the exception of two arcs in Season 1, Deep Blood and Angel Fall. These arcs weren't completely filler as they exist in the light novel, but the events in these stories were changed via the removal of certain scenes, characters, and the overall plot altered slightly. Is this, however, enough to warrant an entire remake of all 3 seasons of Index? Not quite. I've already made a video, albeit an old and bad one, about why the Index anime isn't that great, but to TLDR, the characters other than Accelerator feel generic and uninteresting, magic as a whole and the overall plot isn't well explained at times, and it can be confusing. Index Season 3 rushing every single arc just to get to World War III, and important details like the backstory of the main character being completely removed. Therefore, as an avid and passionate fan of the Index light novels, which is my favourite series of all time by the way, it just honestly makes me sad that most people who check out Index, including my friends, think it's just some boring power fantasy anime that has weird fans who enjoy it somehow. Therefore, I believe a well-directed and modernised remake could not only adapt the events of Index in a more compelling and interesting way, but it might also attract new anime fans to the series. Of course, I know Index is never going to be like Railgun, which is deemed to be the better of the two in anime form, as Railgun is adapted from a manga, while Index is originally a light novel, making Railgun easier to adapt into anime format as a result. I don't believe it's possible to create the perfect Index adaptation because of this. If you want to read the books for the unedited story and the finer details, you can. However, that doesn't mean I don't think Index can be vastly improved in anime anime format. That's what I'd love to see. Also guys, just putting it out there that I have started a Patreon, so if you'd like to support the channel while getting cool rewards such as video shoutouts, voting for future videos, and Discord hangouts, then check out the link in the description. Thank you for the support. I decided to ask all Index fans on Twitter which they would prefer to see. Season 4 of the anime covering the events of the sequel light novel series, A Certain Magical Index New Testament, or a good remake of the first 3 seasons. As I'm editing this video currently, the scale was slightly in favor of a 4th season, but it just shows you there's definitely interest from fans to get a better adaptation. But other fans would just rather see the unadapted arcs come to life in anime format, and not bother focusing on repeating events again in what already seems like an eternity to finish adapting the first light novel series of Index. I can understand both sides, and I would honestly love to see both. However, there is probably more chance of me winning the lottery than getting both of these happening at once. You may be thinking, well, Aeon, this is cool and all to imagine life is perfect, and we have this idealized remake of Index, but what is the actual chance of at least this coming true? Well, it nearly did. A remake at least, but whether this remake that never happened would have been good or not remains an unsolved mystery. There were actually worries amongst the production committee that a continuation of the story would limit the appeal, and the producer of the Index anime and editor of the light novel, Kazuma Miki, said that the question of making the new Index anime a reboot or a continuation was a subject of debate right until the very end of the talks. In the end, we had to put the user experience first, he said. There are a lot of fans who would want to see the entirety of the original Index story adapted, so he made season 3 with that in mind. Wow. Can we travel to a different world line just to see what it would have been like without Index Season 3? Sounds heavenly. This shows the producers of Index were thinking along the same lines as the fans at one point. Instead, they made Index Season 3. And it's rumored that the creator of Index, Kamachi Kazuma, was unhappy with the decision to have only 26 episodes and rush the arcs of the novel. Maybe the Index anime is just fated to be mid for eternity, living in the shadows of the peak fiction and masterpiece of the light novels. Unless the production company decides to give the Index series the love and attention it deserves as one of the best-selling and influential light novels in Japan. Anime studios tend to prioritize light novels with no anime adaptation so they can better sell the source material unless there is enough demand from existing fans to create more seasons of a pre-existing anime. Index's 20th anniversary is in 2 years' time, so I guess we will have to wait till then. Would you like to see a remake of Index, or would you prefer a 4th season instead? Let me know down below and check out my other Index videos right here on the channel.